Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. The 2022 World Cup is just days away for us, and the excitement is slowly building. But
You sure about that? I think we may have to redo this intro because that sounded almost too excitable.
well,
Read the room, for God's sake.
I mean, football every day of the week for the next month or so. I'm happy, regardless of what is happening elsewhere with people. Do I think it's a stupid idea? Yes. We've been held in Qatar, and the fact it's the middle of the season, double yes. But am I still going to be watching football every day for the next month? Yes.
Yeah, it's that, isn't it? we could complain however we want, but am I going to watch Morocco versus Croatia? You're damn right I am.
Exactly. So in this podcast, myself and Brad, we're going to be looking at our favourites of the tournament, dark horses, shocks, and everything else, and then we'll be giving our predictions for this World Cup. Right, let's crack in.
Well,
Who do you...
We say the predictions. Air quotes that one, but we'll explain later.
Yes. So, who have you got amongst the favourites then for this tournament?
Well, see, in my mind, realistically, there are only 3 nations that we can class as potential winners. Potentially a 4th, but that team has got to be completely on it. But we'll get to them. We'll start with the overall runs, and that is Brazil, I think.
Yeah, I mean, such a deep squad that they've selected, and they're just such a good team. And for me, I feel like they have to have a good tournament.
Yeah, no, I could get your opinion with that. Like the squad's just covered pretty much all over.
Like
so it's not like the past where you say there's probably a weakness area. You would look at that defensive wise and say, yeah, you're not as good as perhaps other teams. Which, you look at them now, you still think you probably have got a defensive issue when you're still putting the likes of Dani Alves and Marcelo in your squad.
I mean, Dani Alves, what, 38 now? 39?
If he plays, he's the oldest Brazilian ever to play at a World Cup.
Yeah. So there is that sort of issue, but at the same time, I feel like they've got enough in terms of their attack that the defense won't really be an issue. Because say they may concede 1 or 2 goals, that's if they get past Alisson or Ederson, whoever goes in goal.
Yeah.
you look at the forward line: Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus, Neymar, Rafinha, Vinicius, Antony, Rodrigo, Gabriel Martinelli. Like, that's an insane forward line.
Yeah, and it's an insane forward line that can just easily chop and change whatever they want to suit their needs, pretty much.
Yeah.
Except for Neymar, he's in, like, guaranteed. Otherwise, you're gonna have a problem.
Well, yeah, that is obviously the one thing, but the rest of that forward line is interchangeable, obviously, barring injuries and all that. But for me, I do think Brazil have the potential to go quite far. I don't know whether I'd say all the way this year, but I think they've got definitely potential to maybe get semis.
Yeah, I think that's the minute. I think I'd say that's the minimum everyone is expecting when you see how it can line up, because no one's really expecting them to not top their group.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their group, they've got Cameroon, Serbia, and Switzerland. That's
which, yeah. Like, for me, it's Serbia and Switzerland that have their level. Cameroon go below that, unfortunately. And then Brazil are just at a completely different one and higher than all of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one player, obviously, from Cameroon that they'll have to be wary of is Eric Choupo-Moting, who's been on really good form at Bayern Munich this season.
Manchester United's next striker.
No, don't be silly. It's still not going to happen. But overall, you may have like 2 or 3 players from Serbia and Switzerland that you have to pay attention to. So it's one of them where you'd say, by the time the third match day comes, Brazil should be qualified for the knockout stages already.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's not actually the last we'll be talking about the likes of Serbia and Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I want to sound out really on Brazil is the inclusion of Vinicius Junior. This is his first World Cup, which is pretty extraordinary. But then again, was he known back in 2018? I feel like that was too early for him.
Yeah, well, so 4 years ago, he would have been 17, 18. Don't know when his birthday is, roughly, so I think it's just a tad too simple. You think if this, say, is potentially Neymar, even maybe Richarlison's last World Cup at an extreme push? Most likely, I would say Neymar's last one because he is 30. Does he play in the
you say that, but
North America one?
Dani Alves is 38, so maybe it's not Neymar.
Yeah, but is that more down to Dani Alves than it is down to Brazil?
I think it's down to a bit of a lack of depth in fullback areas.
Where I feel like with Neymar, say if Brazil do win this, I feel like he could retire from the international scene as a World Cup winner. And then you still have that confidence of you've got Rafinha, Vinicius, Anthony, Rodrigo, and Martinelli, who are all younger than Neymar. So it's not something like they'd worry about.
I've just had the thought about, we're talking about Vinicius Junior not being mentioned much in 2018. That you could probably say the same of, is it Endrick right now, who's getting a lot of plaudits? Maybe he's the next one.
Yeah, I mean, 15, I don't even think he's 16. I think he may have just turned 16 this past summer. But yeah, he looks like the really highly talented one coming out of Palmeiras at the minute. There's been rumours that Real Madrid, PSG, and Chelsea have been the three teams that I've seen linked with Endrick. But definitely one for the future. But yeah, I think TJ's side really have got to be looking at one of the strong favourites, if not the strongest South American side in this competition.
Okay, should we move on to the second team? I also have Argentina as the very heavy favourites.
Yeah, I have to agree here. I mean, they're on a crazy unbeaten run under Lionel Scaloni at the minute. They just look formidable, like so good.
Copa America winners as well, which is why people maybe just have them ahead of Brazil, considering they beat them to win that.
Yeah, I mean, forward line, Lautaro Martinez, Paulo Dybala, Joaquin Correa, Lionel Messi, Julian Alvarez. That is frightening for any defense to come up against.
It is frightening, but I feel like that forward line gets underrated a little bit more when you compare it to Brazil's.
I think it's a tad bit more because Dybala's had hit and miss times. We don't really know much about Julian Alvarez. Yes, he was exceptional last season at River Plate, and he's had hit and miss games so far at Manchester City.
We're forgetting that this is an Argentina who once a decade ago had Messi in prime. But could you actually, because Messi's always been in prime. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, I was allowing you to run.
Prime Aguero, you could say. Pete's like, Carlos Tevez was in there. I feel like
it's because a lot of them were quite similar with how they played.
Yeah, they're all central strikers pretty much, except for Messi.
Yeah, where now it feels like they've got more rounded players in the wider positions. And so that's why I feel more confident looking at this Argentina team than they have done in World Cups past.
And those past Argentina teams also had a probably weaker defence as well, you could argue.
I mean, this defence...
They've gone from Martin Di Michelis to having a very straightforward centre-back partnership.
Like, it's very, very scary times. Again, a group I think they should be topping, Group C, with Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. Poland going to be a tough test because we all know what Lewandowski is capable of doing. Mexico, they're a bit of an unknown with Gerardo Martino as their manager, leaving some big players out. The likes of Carlos Vela being one of them, and a few other big names that Mexican fans will know of. It's one of them where I feel like for them, I feel like this World Cup is kind of a free safety card because they know they've got the next one, which they are co-hosting with the US and Canada, which I think they would want to perform better at than this one.
Yeah, there is a bit of an unknown commodity to Mexico, but everyone really looks at them and goes, well, you're always in the last 16 anyway. You never get past it, but you always seem to find a way there.
Yeah. But back on Argentina, I think they should be definitely winning that group with ease. And then obviously we don't get to see them until Tuesday.
No, and we talked about respect for Brazil goalkeepers. Can we put some respect on the Argentina goalkeeper, please?
Is that just because it's a certain Emiliano Martinez?
No, it isn't, but maybe yes.
Or Geronimo Rulli?
Everyone knows, it's Emiliano Martinez that is the number one. Like I said, an Aston Villa player is going to win the World Cup.
Yeah. For me...
Unfortunately, Tite left the other one at home.
Good.
Look at their midfield. He could have got in that.
As their boot cleaner, maybe.
No, Fred's already on that role.
But yeah, I strongly agree with the two picks you've had so far, Argentina and Brazil being amongst the favourites, if not the favourites, to win it.
But the other one is the holders, which I feel like we cannot avoid because they're still very good and have an amazing squad depth, and that's France.
See, this is where I'm disagreeing with you just because of past World Cups.
Here we go then.
I mean, we all know the fact of the matter is, like, was it the last 3 or was the last 4 winners of the World Cup haven't got out of the group stages?
Are you trying to spit facts to me?
Isn't it every World Cup since 2002, the World Cup winners? So France winning it in 98 onwards, the next World Cup, they haven't got out of the group stages.
You're telling me about the thing I know most about France than anything else. That's the French World Cup curse.
Yeah. I mean, we all remember back in 2010, which was our prime years of
Technically, they didn't win that one. But
no, but we know...
you can literally use 98 as the example. They won it, and then 2002, they struggled.
2010, they had all their problems off the field stuff. This year, they've been hampered with some injuries, even most recently, Christopher Nkunku getting injured just a few days before the World Cup.
That was a shame. Like, he didn't deserve that.
Yeah, so...
He's already signed at Chelsea, so what's the point? You don't need to out yourself to support other teams.
For me, the midfield doesn't feel strong. It's got potential. You look at the likes of Tchouaméni and Camavinga. But then I look at the other players in that midfield. Matteo Guendouzi, Youssoufa Fofana, Adrien Rabiot and Jordan Vertu.
I'm supposed to live in a world where Guendouzi and Vertu got called up, but Boubacar Kamara got left at home.
It doesn't feel like...
He's literally looked at... Did he not realise Vertu has played for Villa in the past? That's why you shouldn't be calling him up.
For me, you just... Yeah, I don't rate that midfield for France.
Yeah, like, you're telling me those two got in just because Pogba and Kante are injured?
Yeah, which is baffling. Like, I genuinely think out of the teams so far, these have the biggest weak spot.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't rate them up there with Brazil and Argentina. I just don't think the quality is there as much as those two.
No, I 100% agree with you. And that's why I don't have them for 8.
If France are to do well in this tournament, they are going to be carried heavily by Mbappe and Benzema. Yeah.
And
it could still happen.
Oh, yeah, I'm not disproving it or saying that it definitely can't happen, but that's a lot of pressure on them 2 players.
Yeah, but I feel like Mbappe is ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, 22, 23 now.
He's got at least 2 World Cups in him.
Yeah, and he's looking very frightening in form for PSG just before we headed into this World Cup. It's going to be a very interesting time to see what he can do at this World Cup and maybe put to silence a bit of his critics who have been moaning about his attitude this season. And obviously there was the rumours that he apparently wanted to leave. Then there was stuff that came out that saying he never asked to leave. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of show Mbappe can put on.
But then this is where my conspiracy theory brain comes into play, because what if he was somehow to cause this year's French controversy?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it's just, I can feel something coming towards it, and that's why I don't see them being that team this year at the World Cup.
It's an interesting one with France, really.
Yeah.
If it goes very well or it goes awfully.
Yeah, 100%. A team I want to talk about as potential favourites, Germany.
Oh, you're putting them in it, really. See, I'm very 50-50 on it.
I think Germany have got such a good squad under Hansi Flick. Like, I think maybe
if it comes together, then yes, I can see it. But until I see that firsthand, I won't know. I look at them, how I guess looked at Italy back at the Euros. Like, he's telling me a lot, and there was a good potential in them, but I want to see it firsthand now.
Yeah, and what happened with Italy at the Euros? They went on to win it.
They won it because Gareth Southgate decided to play negative football in the final.
Nah, Italy were always the better team, and I pretty much said it from after the second match day. I was like, I think Italy could go all the way, and they did. So I'm calling it early. I think Germany have the potential to go all the way. I don't know whether they can possibly meet Argentina or France in the knockout stages beforehand, but if they can't, then
It's going to depend where they finish.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, they're in a group of a certain other team who I also had as just outside favourites, and that is Spain.
I don't know how I see this Spanish team.
Yeah, I'm the same. But we said the same thing at the Euros, and look what happened. They probably should have made the final.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's just
Euros group stage. Spain gets battered in this group. By the way, Germany will have them. But if you get knockout stage Spain, then they're a threatening team.
Yeah, I mean, where did the goals come from Spain's attack? Because their attack is Alvaro Morata, Marco Asensio, Ferran Torres, Nico Williams, and Ansu Fati. Who are you asking to carry you into the knockout stages there out of that?
If I'm Luis Enrique, I look at the likes of Morata and probably Ferran Torres. But is it out of the question for them to look at someone like Nico Williams, who is a bit untested in major games, but is one who is very highly rated?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
maybe this is Ansu Fati's tournament for all we know.
It could be, but I think it's maybe a tad too early for him in that sense. I mean, he's not having a bad season so far with Barca, 3 goals and 3 assists in La Liga, but I think maybe the next Euros would be the one where we see the likes of Nico Williams and Ansu Fati shine more for Spain.
Yeah, and Pedro and Gavi will be even more experienced as well. They're going to get better.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have them for this tournament. I think Euro 2024 and World Cup 2026, that's when I'm looking again at Spain being amongst the favourites for major tournaments. This one I just don't see.
I don't know. I've still got them doing well.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously Japan and Costa Rica are the other 2 teams in that group, but it's just the fact of when Germany play Spain, which is the second match day, so the 27th of November, so 10 days away from now, is when we see that. And I think that's when we can really put to case, are Spain serious for this tournament, or are they just the pretenders?
Yeah, and I'm glad they're playing in the second one as well, because the expectation you would think is they both win the first one, and then the second one becomes must win for both if they want to top the group.
Yeah, practically the group decider, you would say.
Yeah, but I'm not ruling out Japan, in all honesty.
No, I think
we know what Costa Rica are really capable of.
Yeah, that's one of the groups where you think,
I need to know actually, is Paolo One-Chop still in that squad? Because I feel like he's always there.
What, in the Costa Rica squad? Let me just have a quick look. No.
Oh,
However,
disappointment. There they failed. Joel Campbell, is he still?
yeah, he's in there, and so is Brian Ruiz.
I thought he'd retired. Joel Campbell.
No, still playing.
Well, if we're going along these lines, should we stick around the dark horses category now?
Yeah. Okay. First team I want to mention, Louis van Gaal's Army, the Netherlands. For
No,
me,
shut up.
they
No,
are the dark horses.
they're not the dark horses. They're not.
They are. No one's rating these at all, and I don't understand why.
I could maybe see why. It's the lack of quality compared to other teams.
I mean, if you look at the season,
Memphis Depay, your forward.
Cody Gakpo, he's going to light it up this tournament. Xavi Simons having a great tournament. I think we'll see Frankie de Jong come into a more rounded play in this tournament. And you look in the defence, you've got Jurgen Timber, Matthijs de Ligt, Virgil van Dijk, Nathan Ake, Stefan de Vrij, Tyrell Malacia, Daley Blind, Denzel Dumfries, and Jeremy Frimpong. That is a solid defence.
It is solid, but it's also inexperienced. Like if we're calling Spain that, I think Netherlands are just as much in that category.
But then surely they have to be also in the potential favourites if you've just had Spain.
Not when Memphis Depay is their striker.
Bro, Netherlands Memphis Depay is different to Barcelona Memphis Depay. It's just facts.
But we'll find out that really. But when you're talking dark horses, I bring up the likes of Denmark.
Yeah, again, I'm not too despondent of Denmark being in there. I would say they're the second favourite in their group. So obviously it's themselves, Australia, France, and Tunisia. It's still a strong squad. We obviously saw what they were able to do at the Euros. Was it quarterfinals?
The semis, beaten by England.
Yes, they were. Jesus Christ, it feels like
but it
a long
took
time
extra
ago.
time to beat them in that. Like they were a team that was inspired by the Eriksen story.
And obviously Eriksen in this squad, it's going to be very interesting to see there. I mean,
they were unbeaten in. It was the World Cup qualifying, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were a really decent team that is working with a lack of quality compared to the other teams, but they're a close-knit squad.
Yeah, and they definitely have one or two players that I think will definitely surprise players. I mean, obviously everyone knows what Kasper Dolberg is like, but I think a young striker I'm looking forward to see is Andreas Olsen of Club Brugge, who are having a fantastic season in the Jupiler League. He's already got 6 goals and 3 assists this season. I'm very interested to see how he does. And then the midfield, you've got Pierre Højbjerg, Mikael Damsgaard, Thomas Delaney, and obviously Christian Eriksen going as well.
I feel like Damsgaard as well was one who shined at the Euros, but since signing for Brentford has been a bit quiet.
Yeah, it was good to see him come over here, but I just don't feel like Brentford was the right team.
I can't recall if he's even like regularly playing for him. Just seems odd. I don't know if he's suited yet to England or there always been injury troubles. I don't know what I'm missing there really.
He's played 11 times in all competitions for him so far.
Does make you wonder a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Denmark definitely have a potential to be late knockout stage, so quarters, semis, potentially knocking on the door there if they're capable of going that way. Any other teams you've got as a potential, oh, here we go, I'm not too sure how they're going to do?
Realistically, no, if I'm being honest. I don't think there's another team that goes, oh, you could do a Croatia. Like it's no, I don't want to say England. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, I've got players I think have like really good tournaments in that sense. Like could have like a bit of a breakout tournament. I think if we look at
I just realised we didn't even talk about Belgium either.
I just don't see him doing that well, that's why.
But more with Belgium, I guess. Like,
yeah, but if we 2 players and they both play at the same national team in Uruguay, Fede Valverde of Real Madrid, everyone knows what an exceptional season he's having so far. under Carlo Ancelotti and co. And I think he's just going to carry that excellent form into the World Cup. And then you look at Darwin Nunez as well. A lot of people slated him at the start of the season, and there was obviously the him and Haaland comparison. But in recent weeks, Nunez is silencing those critics, including myself.
He's winning the war.
He's looking absolutely fantastic now, and I think it's still going to take him a bit of time to get adjusted to Liverpool. But I think in this Uruguay team, I think we could see him pop in with a few goals.
Yeah, I feel the same way a little bit about Uruguay. The more I think about it, and also they're in a group that I think is pretty well suited to them. I need to watch Uruguay first, but I feel confident.
Yeah, I think. Group H really is an interesting group. I think it's anyone's that could win it because you got Ghana, Portugal, South Korea, and Uruguay.
Yeah,
and I don't see a.
Although just thinking about it now, we're bigging up Uruguay, but I have to be Team Ghana in this.
I'm gonna have to be.
They are owed revenge for 2010.
I mean, the shithousery was fucking off the scale.
Justice needs to be done. If they're not kicking shit out of Luis Suarez, then what is this?
Imagine though if he does something like that again though, to get them through.
No, he can't do it.
Yes.
Ghana are going to go full Cameroon against Argentina and Italianize on him.
And it's the final match day as well.
Oh, it's going to be pointless then.
Potentially, but imagine though, like Ghana need a point to go through. And they're 1-0 down, 90th minute. Suarez blocks it off the line again. Oh, shithousery levels I'm excited for.
Oh, I hate you.
Right, let's have a bit more into our own other stuff in terms of who we think is going to be top goal scorer for this.
Top goal scorer? Didn't expect you to come in for that one.
I'll go into that
I had that as part of the predictions, so I know my option. I'm not going to lead with that. I'm going to see if you're saying it as well first. I feel like just because it's England, I put Harry Kane in there. Why not? Because if England are to do well, he's the one who's going to score all the goals.
Yeah. In that sense, I can see your point, but I don't have England doing well at all in this tournament, and I don't see him scoring that many goals in that sense. I think there is the potential of like one or two players that could possibly surprise us. I think Lewandowski against the likes of Mexico and Saudi Arabia, I think he'll have goals galore. Even if Poland don't go that far, I think he could probably score easily a hat-trick against Saudi Arabia. No disrespect to Saudi Arabia, but
I have to say
Lewandowski is.
I have to say this against your point, because we saw him in an easier group at the Euros, did we not? And he didn't really do much.
Yeah, it was.
Then again, he didn't have Matty Cash swinging and crosses into him.
For fuck's sake, you are loving the fact that there's a Villa player.
Got to be strong. There's 4. I got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I think Lewandowski could have a good tournament. Another one who I think will get amongst goals, but I don't know quite top goal scorer. I think Cody Gakpo of the Netherlands.
You're all in on Gakpo.
He's having a fantastic tournament season so far. It's hard to look past him.
He's got to now replicate that, either through his own and just carrying the Netherlands, or he needs others around him to come alongside him.
I mean, 9 goals and 12 assists so far in the Eredivisie. You can't be looking past that.
No, no, you can't. But I look at the quality he comes up against as well.
Plus, again, I still think that Netherlands group is easy enough that they should be winning it quite comfortably and scoring quite a bit of goals.
Yeah, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I'll throw another name into the mix, because thinking about it, if Argentina are to progress, who's going to score the goals? And that has to be Lautaro Martinez.
For me, it was a toss-up between him and Julian Alvarez as the goal scorers for Argentina.
No, I think Martinez is definitely the main one who's played.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd go with Martinez just slightly, but for me, I was thinking out of them two, who would it be that you think of? And you are right. I do think Lautaro Martinez would be the predominant scorer.
The more names we say, the more they feel like outside bets because we haven't even talked about Mbappe, Neymar.
Benzema himself.
Yeah. Any Germans?
Lukaku could do.
I don't know about Lukaku, if I'm honest.
I think it's an interesting one with Belgium. I mean, for me, I feel like this is the end of their so-called golden period.
If you don't reach the semis of this tournament, you're finished. You're done. You're the one. This is the best teams who have never ever won anything.
Yeah, it feels pretty similar to England under Sven. It's such a good team. You're thinking, how have they not got to a final and even contested for a trophy?
But that didn't even get past the quarterfinals.
Well, yeah. So I think Belgium are teetering on the lines there of this is a break World Cup for them in that sense.
Yeah, I can understand. Got my own thoughts with Belgium, but they're better for later.
Okay. Where do you want to go to next then?
I would like to talk surprise packages.
For me, one of them teams you have to look, or you can't look past, is Senegal. A team in Group A with Ecuador, Qatar, and the Netherlands, reigning champions of AFCON. I mean, I know Mane's set to miss this first game, I believe.
Yeah, no, he's out. They said he was out the first game, which I guess is a good thing because you could write off the Netherlands one almost if they're not expected to win it.
Yeah. But I think as current African champions, a lot of people really aren't talking about them in that sense. And I think because a lot of how big the European nations are and South American nations looks, I really do think Senegal are going to be one of them teams you see maybe quarters and go, hang on, how are they there to the unwritten eye? But
the way it works out for them is the running. So I think first or second, they'd play whoever is in Group B. You know, you look at it and go, you could, if you're on it, you'll give them a game.
Yeah, I think, they finished runners-up, they faced the winner of Group A, which potentially could be England, and doesn't surprise. I think if they face if they finish runners-up in Group A and England don't win Group A, I think you can say Senegal would get to the quarters. Again, vice versa. If Senegal finish runners-up and England...
This is where I don't know, because I would like to put the USA and Wales both in the surprise package category.
I don't agree with Wales at all.
I can see why you wouldn't.
I know Robert Page has done a fantastic job.
We said the same thing at the Euros and look what happened.
I mean, Robert Page has done a fantastic job since he took over permanently, but I don't know where their goals come from. Yes, Gareth Bale turns up in tournaments and scores major goals when he needs to, but I just look at the rest of that team and I'm like, there's just not enough quality to say potentially they may get out of the group, but then I don't see a deep run coming in this tournament for Wales.
Yeah, they have to make sure really that I guess the USA aren't as good as maybe some people would like to think they are, given their squad as well.
Yeah, I think they are definitely a surprise package potential. I think it's a really good squad that they have, a mixture of youth.
A very talented squad compared to past USA teams.
Yeah, I mean, just to name a few, you got Josh Sargent from Norwich, Tim Weir.
How is he the first one you've named? Is he the first one?
I've just gone from the strikers upwards. You look at Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, Killian Acosta.
You didn't even say Pulisic or Reyna.
I said Reyna. I didn't say Pulisic because Pulisic's in...
Pulisic's the LeBron James of soccer. How did you miss him?
I knew that was coming, but I just...
Is that why you avoided it then?
Yes, because I knew you was going to do that stupid quote.
Everyone does it. Is it low-hanging fruit? Yes.
Yes. Is it annoying? Yes.
Am I the king of low-hanging fruit? Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I do think Greg Berhalter's side have the potential to go and be surprise a few nations, but also at the same time, is it again? They've got quite a lot of young players, and would they rather focus on 2026 again, home soil for them? And is that their chance to fully shine and go, like, this is actually America side that we are capable of doing stuff?
Maybe, but they can't guarantee the fact that they get a better group than what they have right now. I think this is actually the best chance they have at this moment in time, given the group they're
100%. Yeah, and obviously we can't predict the future as to what groups they're going to be in come 2026.
in. And see, I'm staying around the North America region, but I'm not as fully convinced about Canada as I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone knows their main player in Alphonso Davis, but then
Junior Hoylett.
shut up. Jonathan David, again, another big player in this team. Everyone knows what he's capable of doing at Lille at the minute. 9 goals, 3 assists so far this season. Definitely someone to keep an eye out on. But I don't know too much about this Canada squad to go, you know what, they can surprise me. And I think it could surprise me in not knowing enough about them. But at the same time, I look at their group. They've got Belgium, Croatia, and Morocco, and I think they're probably the weakest team in that group.
Potentially, like defensively, Canada make me go, oh no, oh, you're asking to get battered.
Yeah, like there's not enough established players that you can roll call off like the other teams, and you think, okay, this is where I can see Canada causing an upset and potentially quarter-finalists.
The reason I do put them as surprise packages is because they did top the North American qualifying.
They did.
How did that happen?
I think that's just because the US were quite poor at the time.
Yeah, USA came third and Mexico were second. That's why maybe I would look at the USA below Wales, because who knows what the USA are going to be like even with that talented team.
Yeah, but you can never take past form. We shouldn't take past form into it, because anything can happen in tournament football, and that is the joy of it.
Yes, and the other ones I wanted to mention, I don't want to underlook Serbia.
Yeah, potential. Obviously, we know what Mitro can do up front. It's an interesting group because they can definitely finish second. I think we said earlier on Brazil are nailed on favourites, but then between Cameroon themselves and Switzerland, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who goes through. Again, a midfield I really like. You look at Filip Kostic, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, Nemanja Radanovic, Nemanja Maksimovic. That's a really good midfield. And then forward
I don't know how you deal with all
of,
them Mitches, to be honest.
I'm good at scratching. I hate myself for saying
Jesus Christ.
And then you look at the attacking line: Dusan Vlahovic, Luka Jovic, Dusan Tadic, and Alexander Mitrovic. That can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. But now you've reeled it all off, I'm going, yeah, now I see them as that.
Yeah, that's it. They can cause problems.
Yeah, and they just seem like a team that will dig in as well.
And also, it could be because since going there, Dusan Vlahovic doesn't really seem too settled at Juventus. I think Vlahovic has looked really settled there, and I feel like a move, if he has a good World Cup, I think a January move or potentially a summer move next year could be on the cards based on this World Cup for Vlahovic.
No, I get it. I got interrupted then. That's not funny.
I can tell.
Oh, I don't even know where to go now.
Right, let's have a look.
I feel like we've not mentioned the Asian things in this.
Yeah, I feel like we have been quite disrespectful to them. Obviously, because mainly when it comes to time zone and watching their games, they are in the middle of the night for us. But you got to look, the Asian teams we've got in the tournament, you got Japan, South Korea being the two. Obviously, everyone knows what Heung-min Son is capable of doing in that team. You've also got Kim Min-jae of Napoli in that midfield, who's a really good player and is very interesting to see. And then obviously Wolves fans know about Hwang up front as well. Potential there. Yeah. And again, Group H, I think that's the really open group. I know I've said it a few times now, and I'm getting very repetitive. But Ghana, Portugal, themselves, and Uruguay. It's one where you could say South Korea can finish in all 4 positions.
Yeah, I know where I've got them personally. But did you say if you got Japan? I missed that bit.
I haven't had a speak on Japan again. Not really much.
A Asian qualifying, didn't they?
Yes.
They're not one of the first teams they got through, so they've got something about them.
Yeah, finished second in the Asia World Cup qualifying, 22 points from their 10 games.
It's not bad. There's a chance, but obviously the group they're in makes it a bit more difficult for them. They have to cause a shock.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see in that sense.
Yeah, I think is that as far as we've gone? Really?
Yeah. I feel like that is a good delve into what we think could happen.
I looked for everyone and I realised we didn't really mention Croatia, which feels harsh given the literal team that got beaten by France at the last World Cup.
Maybe because I'm just not expecting much of them personally.
I don't know. They always feel like they could do something.
But at the same time, they feel like they could. They're either going to do what they did in the World Cup and I think shock everyone, or just massively underwhelm everyone.
I don't know. I've got them as last 16, really, and then I look at whoever they face and go from there.
It's definitely an interesting looking team and how they play it out in their group.
Yeah. Well, should we get to the potentially footy part now, because it's predictions time?
Okay, let's go. So
the way this is going to work, going to disappoint a few listeners because we've technically done all our predictions, but in this podcast, we're only going to reveal 3 outrageous predictions that we have for this tournament. We're going to wait until our final review podcast to reveal the rest of them.
Yep.
See how this works out.
Okay. Do we do one each, or do you want to rattle your 3 off and then I'll
look at mine? 3. I'll go. Maybe we could go similar. Just hearing you now in this whole podcast, we could be the same. I realized, did we even talk about Portugal?
No.
No.
I mean, I think we know why we haven't spoken of Portugal, because of a certain somebody.
Oh, is it going to piss you off too much?
Yes.
But do you want me to raise your spirits so I can go with my first outrageous one?
Mm-hmm.
Portugal aren't making it out the group.
Okay. It's a prediction I could understand, and I know it's understandable. Possible.
I think they've run their course.
Yeah.
And they're going to start Ronaldo if he makes it. Little tubby equal at the moment. So, yeah, I just wonder if they play to Ronaldo, then I don't know if it works or not. It might do, and I would look like a bit of an idiot, but okay. My Group H order is Uruguay topping, Ghana a second, Portugal a third, Korea a fourth.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. My first outrageous prediction is England don't get out of their groups.
Oh, that's not outrageous.
For me,
no, it technically is, I guess, but nah. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe it.
I think they lose to the USA, they lose to Wales, and they draw to Iran.
Okay. So they're starting with the draw against Iran. Then the USA defeat becomes embarrassingly.
Yeah.
And then Wales happens. And that's what happens in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But they at least draw against Wales. Because I feel like if they lose to Wales as well, they ain't top it. They ain't finishing third.
No, because if Iran also lose to Wales and
but you're talking goal difference to go like massively in England's favour in that point, but not that matters. Like, you don't think England to get out of the group. But
No.
we know you hate Gareth Southgate, so that's like it might be an outrageous prediction to everyone else, but that's a normal one for you.
Yes, definitely so.
Yeah, well, I'll go to my second one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not outrageous, but it's an interesting one because I think that an African team will reach the quarterfinals.
Yeah. I'm not too adverse against that. I do think an African team can make it to the quarters, whether it be Senegal, Morocco, or Cameroon. But I think realistically, you got to look at Ghana. How Group H is set up. It's just one of them where I think Ghana could go quite far.
That one does depend on
Ghana's.
Yeah, if they second, they're facing Brazil, so you can rule that out.
If Brazil top their group,
which they should do.
Yes, they should do.
Your second?
France don't get past the quarterfinals.
Oh, don't get past the quarterfinals, eh?
No. Quarterfinals is absolute maximum for France. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I feel like I have to go straight into my third one then after that because I do you one better. France aren't getting past the last 16.
So we've both got France going out then.
Yeah, I looked at it and I thought France aren't topping Group D.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to call up against Argentina. And then who's winning that one?
Yeah. And my third and final outrageous one, whether you can call it that, Spain finished bottom of the group.
No. I'm walking away.
Mm-hmm. Spain finished bottom of Group E.
Bottom
I think Japan.
Group E.
Yep. I think Japan and Costa Rica will cause upsets to them. And for me, I just see that happening.
Oh, Jesus. See, if it was Germany, I probably wouldn't have laughed as much, but Spain.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't take David De Gea, is this it?
Maybe that is what I'm thinking, but I'm just thinking back to the 2014 World Cup when they were horrendous. I know we've had a World Cup and Euros post that, or a couple of Euros post that, but I don't know.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we asked for crazy predictions and we definitely got them.
Yeah. I was going to say something else then, but no, I'm going to leave it. It's not. Mm-hmm. Not at this. It wouldn't happen at this one, definitely, because we know what happens.
Well, I think that is a big enough bombshell to end.
I'll say it off record.
Yes, that is a big enough bombshell to end this World Cup preview.
Don't say that. It's Qatar.
Fuck's sake! I'm just using it as a nod to the old Top Gear when they used to say it at the end. Anyway, we'll be covering the World Cup. We won't have podcasts daily because that is a lot of work. So we'll have podcasts every few days or so. Make sure you're following us on Twitter so you know when they will be coming out. And
I've done these. I think the best time we will probably be doing it is the. See, it's awkward because when the 10 o'clock games start, it's awkward to be recording podcasts during then.
Yeah.
I want to watch the football.
I mean, there's a little gap in between.
I think I saw there is one of them that isn't the 10 o'clock, and that's probably when we'll record the next one.
Yes.
I've still not got the wall chart up, so I can't tell you.
Not on this. Well, it's just the first.
I would say it was like a Wednesday. Yeah, but I'm not doing it after that. I'm not reviewing Qatar Ecuador alone.
No. Jesus Christ. I mean, I love the World Cup, but I don't think we could get a podcast out just on one game.
They'd have to be like mad, funny moments.
Yeah. Or somehow the World Cup just gets cancelled after that one game.
Just outrageous things happen in the stadium, that one game. That's it, done. Cancelled. Yes, goodbye.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll be coming out with podcasts throughout the tournament, talking all the big talking points and everything. And we'll obviously be covering it on our Twitter page at OffTCPod, where we'll be bringing updates and stories coming out of Qatar. But until then, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, that you are subscribed to the channel as well. And that you're following us on Twitter at OffTCPod. or anything that comes out of the world during that time. But until our next one, it's goodbye from me.
Do the end intro. You wanted to do it.
It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him.
You can't
Goodbye.
stop yourself. Yeah, it was there.